fact, if you go back to 2015, every hurricane season has started before June. In fact, remember that one in 2016? Alex formed in January, then there was a long gap and another one formed in May. Those early season storms, though, even though you might think it means everything is going to shift, it doesn't mean any single thing. These are just two of those seasons I just showed you. Last year, you remember, a record season, 30 named storms, 13 of them were hurricanes, a record 12 made landfall in the U.S. Compare that to 2015, only 12 named storms and 2 made landfall. So it's all about trying to predict the future, and my job as a forecaster is pretty tough. In fact, it's so tough, there are 2 of me. Let me bring in my mini-me right here. We did this experiment earlier today. It's cornhole or beanbag toss. And what the experiment shows is when you're far away from a target, it's hard to reach that target. The closer you get, the closer you tend to get, and you draw a circle around it, and that's what we use to make a hurricane forecast cone. And when you're really close, mini-me, little Alan got lucky. 3 in a row, how's that? Good job, Alan. There we go. Okay, we took care of it. Fortunately, at the beaches, it wasn't too wet during the Blue Angels Air Show this past weekend. Many folks enjoyed it. Many folks shared their pictures, and this is a really good one coming from Doug Walker. It shows what many people think is a sonic boom, but if you think about it, you can't take a picture of a sound. But what this is, it's sort of related. It's caused by pressure from an airplane that's moving really fast. Ahead of that plane, it squeezes the air, creates high pressure. Midway and behind the plane, it kind of leaves a vacuum, a region of low pressure. And in that region of low pressure, the temperature falls. Think about that. Temperature and pressure, they kind of do the same thing. Pressure falls, temperature falls. In the winter, the temperature falls, your air pressure falls in your tires. So they're kind of related. But there's another factor, humidity. When the temperature falls, the relative humidity goes up to 100%, and you get a cloud. And that cloud is kind of in the shape of a pressure wave, but it's known as a vapor cone because it's a cone of vapor. That is a cloud behind the airplane, and it's caused by the difference in pressure between the wings and what's behind the wings. You can see it here on this Blue Angel. That one's banking, a picture from Jennifer Keel, and as it banks, you see the clouds behind it, and also on the tips of the wings. And when you're flying in an airplane, especially in Mobile and Pensacola, and you're landing, when those flaps open up, you see that trail of clouds behind the wings. So pretty cool thing.
Amazingly, we haven't heard of any reports of injuries from Saturday's destructive severe weather. Let's go now to the Gulf Coast Chief Meteorologist Alan Seals. Alan, those huge hailstones can be deadly.
Deadly, especially to farm animals and other livestock, for example. Now, people, of course, go inside. And when we talk about hail, we're usually talking about hail about the size of a quarter, about an inch. This would be a severe thunderstorm hail. Occasionally, we'll get hail about the size of a golf ball, just a little bit bigger. But to be honest, what we had Saturday was the size of this. It was about 4 inches across. That is historic sized hail for our part of the country. But here's something people don't think about. I've got a blow dryer. That shows you basically how hail forms. That's what's going on inside that thunderstorm. So let's talk about how this glass got those big holes in it. First of all, that's from big hail, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches in diameter across South Baldwin County. Again, we are typically on that lower end of hail, pea size, dime size, but this, when it gets to 4 inches, it is historic. And what happens in a thunderstorm, you've got a lot of warm, humid air that rises. It goes above what we call the freezing level, about 13,000 feet. Now, Saturday morning, at the top of that thunderstorm, at flight level, 40 below zero, at 40,000 feet, it was 75 degrees below zero. So the top of the thunderstorm certainly frozen, made of ice, and that's where the hail forms. Literally, the air is juggling ice about 4, 5, 6 miles above the ground. Now, what does it is the wind that's blowing straight up. It's called an updraft, and that gives us an idea that what goes up must come down. And that's why when we get big hail, we can see big wind damage. I'll talk more about that in your forecast in just a few minutes. This was McNally Park. Alex Butler was looking toward the Dog River Bridge, and very clearly the north wind pushed the water southward into the bay. So on Facebook, my question today was actually a finish the sentence. And the sentence was, it was so windy today, Mary McGowan said the pollen is stacking up in drifts outside my house. Dusty Dixon said a butterfly passed me on I-10. I bet the butterfly was flying backward too. And then Richard Hallberg said, I saw a chicken lay the same egg 3 times. Lots of comments on those, but here's the one that got the most comments from Callista Patterson. I was walking into the gym, but the wind blew me into the donut shop. That's how windy it was today. Well, for me, it was so windy, it blew the black off of my hair. I was looking in the mirror, and all of a sudden I see gray. Don't know where it went. Keep in mind, yesterday we were under a slight risk of severe weather, and there was none, which is a good thing. But when you talk about outlooks and watches and warnings for tornadoes, let's change that to tomato. Here's a tomato outlook. You've got sunshine, you've got soil, you've got seeds and water. Those are the ingredients. But once you put them together, it's time to watch. There's a tomato watch. It's just a seedling, no big deal. And there, of course, is your tomato warning, which gives you an idea that it's all about having the ingredients, watching how they grow, and then maybe you'll get a tomato, or maybe the squirrels will get them before you do.